Welcome to the Gun Show, viewers, in more ways than one. Not only will I be using the Gun Borg Tribe for this episode, but a lot of these battles will be fought alongside our specialist, Kotaro. Now that he's joined us, the game kinda wants you to get familiar with him in a hurry. I'm opening with Revolver Gunman. Now, this is one of the first Borgs the game gives you when you start creating forces, and all told, he's a pretty good one. It's easy to use and capable of dealing good damage in the right hand. I'm kind of focusing on Mana Shield Witch here because she could really do a number on my Gun Borg attacks. Fortunately, she's taken out without too much trouble. Gun Borgs are basically the opposite of the Ninja Borgs we saw earlier. They generally want to stick between medium and long range, not getting too close to the enemy, as their melee attacks are generally poor. And they're also kind of slow in the air, so the only time you'll really jump is when you want to get a different angle for your shots. For the most part, you'll stay on the ground, dodging attacks and taking your shots where you can get them. Revolver Gunman shares his strategy with a lot of Borgs. Stick and move, using your B attacks for the most part, while taking a double recoil shot when you get the chance. A double recoil is the main way a Revolver Gunman deals damage, though chaining a series of fast shooting shots can deal a good amount in their own right. Luckily, a quick reload time means you won't be left too long without being able to shoot. Looks like Revolver Gunman doesn't have much left. He does manage to get one last shot in. Next up is Time Bomber. Like the name suggests, he drops time bombs. You tap the B button, and a few seconds later, the bomb you set will explode. They also explode on contact, but that's generally less common. You can also tap the X button to fire a contact bomb, but seeing as those reload gradually, you can't really spam them, or you'll run out when you really need it. One unique ability of Time Bomber is that he can drop bombs at any time, even during hard knockdown. It makes him a little bit more versatile than you might expect. Though, seeing as you can blow yourself up, you have to be a little more careful with your attacks than you would with any other Borg. Though in this case, Kakeru Shuriken Ninja's huge hitbox actually works in my favor, as long as I'm not blowing myself up. But I can just drop a bomb and watch him crash into it, rather than taking the full brunt of his attacks. Time Bomber is almost out of juice, and if Kakeru's normal ninja doesn't get me, I probably will. And next up is Wire Gunner. You can think of him as an inverse wire girl. And instead of pulling himself along his wire, he pulls enemies along. It doesn't work on giant Borgs, such as Stage 2 dragons, but any eligible Borg gets pulled along whatever wire you set. Generally, it's best used at putting an enemy in a position where you can get a good shot at them. And it's even better if you manage to get them caught on a wall, as they'll hang there helplessly for a second or two before the wire dissipates. That can be somewhat difficult to do, especially against a destructible wall. But fortunately, the ability to just pull them along is good enough even if I can't get them stuck. And that's game. nice double ninja for a prize. And now begins Kotaro's crash course. Tetsuya seems to have taken it upon himself to train Kotaro, and so there's a number of battles where Kotaro and I team up against Tetsuya and one of the other commanders in the Gotcha Force. I'm using Powered Gunman here, essentially a powered-up version of Revolver Gunman. He uses double-barrel shotguns as opposed to revolvers, and like most video game shotguns, his most powerful attack requires you to get right up in the enemy's face to use it. I'm kind of focusing on Tetsuya here because that Samurai Shogun is incredibly powerful, though I'll go into more detail of that when I talk about Musha Borgs. A Powered Gunman isn't quite as helpless as range as most video game shotgun users are, as his double shot does decent damage, much like Revolver Gunman's fast shooting, and he can also charge his powered shot, delivering it at range. It's a little more difficult to connect at range, but the ability to stay out of your enemy's attack range makes it worth the trade-off. Especially when the enemy is something like that Gatling tank. I was right at the edge there. Looks like Powered Gunman might not be much longer. No, he does get taken out before I do, so Tsutomu's down to his partner. We definitely have the advantage here. A couple more powered shots might even take him down. Oh, but I didn't have to, because that's game. Picked up another orange fighter. And a capsule for Samurai Shogun. Nothing particularly interesting happened in that generic Death Force battle, so I just cut right to the end.
Alright! I love it!
Did get a Cybergirl capsule. Oh, and that was enough to get an actual Cybergirl. So that was nice. Also picked up an alt-colored normal tank. Oh, this is another Death Force battle in which nothing interesting happened.
Alright! We did it!
Another Ring Valkyrie. And another Sword Knight. A decent enough haul, I guess. Though finally, we get another battle. And this one is not with Kotaro. I mean, I like the kid and all, but I need a break. Now, this is really just to showcase just how good Wire Gunner can be.
Alright, let's rock!
Our enemy in this battle is just a group of ICBM tanks. And like Ultimate Cannon, they have destruction attacks. And that was a misclick. Had I actually dragged that missile, it would have been really bad for me. But what I'm trying to do here is drag the ICBM tanks into their own missile blast. Like with Ultimate Cannon, most Borgs caught in that will be destroyed instantly. Some Borgs with shields can block the explosion, but it's really unreliable. It'd probably help if I set a wire down before firing the hook. I got caught in one. And really, ICBM tanks do a fairly good job of blowing themselves up. Like, that's no reason to not give them a hand.
No way!
And despite appearances, ICBM tanks aren't helpless without their missile. They do have a side cannon that they can use. They just rarely do when the computer uses them.
I did it!
No prizes. Yeah, it is a strange enemy, Usagi. And we continue with Kotaro's crash course.
Right?
This time it'll be against Tetsuya and Usagi. I'm opening with Remote Bomber here. And like Time Bomber, he sets down bombs. Though instead of blowing up on a timer, a Remote Bomber can detonate them at will. A Remote Bomber also carries the distinction of being the only Gun Borg to not have a gun. Generally, the strategy is the same as with Time Bomber, except you can be a little more discerning with when your bombs go off. The computer likes to make a long chain of bombs, and then simply detonate them in a string, blowing itself up and dropping bombs along the way. That does do a good job of covering the arena explosions, but I like to be a little more thoughtful in my placement. And not too much more. Blowing yourself up is a pretty effective way of getting your enemy. No, he didn't get too much done. He did manage to take out the Samurai Shogun, though. And next up is the Gatling Gunner. He's one of the more powerful gun borgs. And with that 100-shot clip, if you really want to take something down, you can just hold the button and shoot. But that's really just a good way to get yourself hit. So your most effective option is to squeeze for a second or two, and then dodge. And when your clip is empty, toss a few grenades to keep the enemy busy while you reload. Once one connects, more will connect and take it down. Of course, Gatling Gunner has no melee attacks, so if both of your attacks are empty, you're helpless until one reloads. So once you're full, if your enemy's down to their last board, fire away.
Alright! Awesome! Better luck next time. You got beaten too many times!
You might even say Gatling Gun is easier to use than other gun borgs. Oh, a command girl. That's nice. We'll close out this episode with another battle against the Hero Borg unit. Well, let's see how I do when I can't just blow them all up.
Let's do this!
I'm opening here with Billy, Kotaro's partner. He's the modified revolver gunman, and the modification is he reloads faster. That may not sound like much, but it's awesome. Billy's able to put out a lot of damage really quickly, and at only 250 GF energy, he can do a lot more than other Borgs at that cost. No, unfortunately, in this 5-on-1 battle, he doesn't get a chance to show off as much as he might otherwise. But he still manages to take Cyber Hero down to less than a quarter. And just a few more shots. But next up is Beam Gunner. He shares a lot of similarities with Cyber Ninja, being the only Borg of his tribe to have a boost jump. And also the most expensive Borg in the tribe. Now, he uses beams, as the name suggests. Those beams are fast moving and high damage. He's also not as slow in the air as his counterparts in the tribe are. Lets him get around really quickly compared to other gun Borgs. See, this hero battle gets a lot easier once you've actually taken out a few of them. Seems it's down to only Shadow Girl and Metal Hero. Well, I'm not sure. Oh, there he is. I had lost track of Metal Hero for a second there. Fortunately, the remaining two enemies are melee-based, so I can just keep my distance and kind of pepper them with shots. Well, it seems they got out of the way of the beam laser. And Metal Hero isn't stunned by it even when it does connect. I definitely don't want to get caught by his sword though, so I probably won't try it again. After that one. And that's game. That must be what it feels like to fight the Power Rangers.
We showed them.
And we'll take a look at our prizes. Oh, I own Metal Hero. And the Gold Hero capsule. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching and Happy New Year!